Right, well, we're going to talk about the joy of the mainframe. And so, introductions. My name is Keith Banham. I'm the R&D manager at Macro 4, and I look after the mainframe products at Macro 4. And I've been in IT since 1980, so I'm the old timer.
Hello, I'm Sarah Khalid and I'm the mainframe newbie. Just started my mainframe career.
We realise that we are between you and the refreshments, so we will try to keep this short and sweet. Hopefully. Can you come in? It's okay. What we're going to try and do is show the differences between my career and going through and being a mainframer, and then looking at Sarah's early career and then the training that she did as a mainframe developer, or is undertaken as a mainframe developer, and then I'll give you a bit about the future and what I think the role going forward of the mainframe will be. So we all start with education. And obviously, back in the day, I was educated. And I got to A-level. And my parents were very proud that I got my A-levels.
And I've got a graduation degree in computer sciences. And my parents were prouder than him.
Yes. So, and the reason I only did A-level was because when I finished my A-levels, I got a job at NatWest. Because NatWest at the time did mainframe assembler program training. So there was no need to go and get a degree because all the training was in-house, and they used to run a course once a quarter, about 30, 40 people on each course. You know, intakes all the time. Small career at Dun & Bradstreet, and then eventually I ended up at Macro 4 where I've been there for over 30 years. And this was me when I joined Macro 4. Yes. we said we'd train them up early, but not quite that early. And this is my son. This was back in 1986 when I joined. And as you can see, if you wanted to get in computers, you had to work with dumb terminals and mainframes. There was no PCs. It didn't exist. iPhones, you had these big, well, mobile phones didn't exist back then either. So this was the scenario. This is me. And of course, me and my son decided to replicate the photo, as you do. This was my son a couple of years ago when he lived at home. But the point behind this is to emphasise the difference, not the difference in size, but the fact is you saw, the only PC or computer you had to go to work. You had to connect to a mainframe. My son, this is his bedroom, this is all the kit that he's got, and what's missing under in here is a load of games consoles as well. His expectation of computing is completely different of what mine was when I was his age. Life's moved, thankfully moved on, and everything's completely different.
Right, and after my graduation, I started my career as support for an internet company, using some network monitoring tools, and then I switched to a bank with some internal support for the enterprise financial suite. And then I ended up working as a web developer at an estate agent, and then software developer at Macro 4.
So when I started at Macro 4, as a junior trainee programmer on the left, and of course I've had many roles at Macro 4 which I won't bore you with, but basically you work your way up, you become a team leader, you get involved in architecture stuff, and eventually I ended up as the R&D manager leading the team. And that was my career through Macro 4, and that's one reason why I've been there so long, is the fact that my role has changed and got bigger, and you know, it's been different. Each year's been different year on year. And the other interesting thing, the reason I've stayed, is because the mainframe's changed as well. When I first joined, it was just assembler, COBOL, nothing else. But of course, as things moved on, well, you got Unix System Services, WebSphere, DB2, Kix, ZOS, We've even now got, you know, dedicated Linux boxes that run on the mainframe. So technology changes, keeps it very interesting, very fresh. Again, later on, I'll show you some more interesting new technology. And one of my roles is also to modernise the mainframe. Green screens, which we all know about, but it's completely different these days. Obviously, when I started out, that's all there was, but these days, we use the Eclipse environment for all our development. We put web front ends on all our products, and we produce all graphical reports, and spin off stuff into things like Jasper and Splunk and stuff like that. So again, the whole thing evolves. So when you talk about mainframes these days, you're not talking about green screens, you're talking about a whole set of technologies now.
Right. During my just above 3 years at Macro 4, I worked with Java and some testing tools using Selenium, SWT and some web technologies using HTML, CSS, and others for developing the actual web interfaces for our different mainframe products. And then, just above 6 months ago, I started my mainframe journey, just like many of you.
So the first question is, how many people in the room have used the mainframe? Most people? Well, then it'd be easier to ask, how many people in the room haven't used the mainframe? Or think they haven't? Right. Yes, you're wrong. Of course, everybody's used the mainframe, indirectly. So, but before I go on to why, I was just going to say, when we did this presentation, we put it together, and then marketing department came along and they said, oh, we can jazz this up for you. So that, a lot of these graphics are courtesy of the marketing department, which is great. And the marketing lady who did it for me came and said, I'm really pleased with it. She said, you'll like the picture of the meerkat. So I got this presentation and I go all the way through it and I'm thinking, I can't see a meerkat anyway. So I go and talk to her. She said, look, meerkat. And I go, no, look, lemur. So, of course, everybody's used the mainframe these days. If you go online and you book a flight, or you hire a car, or you do shopping, anyone want to guess what this icon is? No, you see. Sarah thought it was a handbag outside of a shop, but it's actually supposed to be a cash machine. Yes, we had to think about it. So, yeah, so anyone who's, obviously, we've all got cash out of a cash machine. The back end of all these transactions, even though they're web-based, is a mainframe, and it's the mainframe engine that will drive all of this process. So, unless you're very odd, most of you would have done something like this, and therefore you would have used the mainframe already. So the business challenge my company has, and I expect it's most companies as well, is how do you turn old people like me into young people like Sarah? And we have to do this because, like a lot of mainframe shops and a lot of businesses, the people that look after the mainframe are of a certain age, and we're all getting older, and we're all heading towards retirement, and we all need to be replaced. So my challenge was to convince Sarah to become one of the newbies. And it's not just Sarah, we have a program where we're going to convince other people as well to join in, because we've got to replace lots of people going forwards. So I then had to convince Sarah why she wants the career in the mainframe. And it's all about what I just showed you. It's the diversity of the mainframe, the fact that everybody relies on the mainframe, the fact that the mainframe will be around for years to come. It's great for a career in terms of adding it to your CV. Lots of people who are coming out of university with Java skills, web skills, they don't come out with mainframe skills. You're one step ahead of everybody else that comes out. So this is the proposition that I put to Sarah, why she should become a mainframe developer.
So yeah, just complementing, why did I accept and why was I convinced? The same things that everybody coming out of the uni has the same sort of skill set. Web technologies, the usual ones, Java, HTML, CSS. You have to have something different to be one step ahead. And as he said, as the people are going to retire in next 10, 15, maximum 15 to 20 years,
Yeah.
that will be it. They'll be retiring, they need the new skill force, and you have to get something different to be in their place. Plus, a big thing on your CV, you can get different trainings. As I did, I will be discussing on our further slides. Good for your CV, you have something different. Plus, a bit more money, probably, that I was promised.
I think about being old, I don't remember promising that, so.
Right. As I just started my mainframe journey, as many of you might think the same, I've faced a lot of struggles. I was stumbling at many places, not finding enough resources, not finding enough free tools that I could just sit and play with, like you get with Java or any other open source, Eclipse, or any other tools. You can just sit on your laptop or any device and play with it. On the mainframe side, you don't get too many of these free tools. So I thought I should share some useful resources that I found a bit helpful. Initially, the books are obviously the best thing you can go to and read them. IBM has got this series of red books, many of you might be already aware of, and there's this basic introduction to the new mainframe soft basics. This one is, of course, aimed at the beginner, so you will find it really simple and not very technical. Another one is What on Earth is a Mainframe? That one is also a bit aimed at the beginners, obviously, and much more interesting than any other technical manuals that you don't want to read. Part of it was some mainframe formal training that I did, and if some of you have just joined any organizations, you might be doing the same. I did the InterSkill courses. Some of them are registered with the IBM Open Badge thing, so you can take the training courses, take the tests, and get these open badges, and good for your CV. There is this Z Systems Academic Initiative by IBM that we hear a lot about. This one was a particular one that I took as my very first ZOS introduction. It's a 5-day free of charge workshop that you can attend. These slides, of course, you can't see, but these are actually hyperlinks, and you can download the slides from the GSE website and follow the hyperlinks to get to the websites. So it's a 5-day course that you attend online. It's based in USA, but you can attend it online, and it's really useful. There's too much to cover in 5 days, but at least you get to know about so many acronyms and things that you would be dreading of. And then there is this Master the Mainframe contest. You must have already heard about it. It is for the students, but if you're not a student, just like I wasn't, so I was finding it difficult to find any free resources for training. So this one, IBM Master the Mainframe contest has got a learning system that you can enroll onto. The 2017 one is just open, so you can register and enroll in the learning system. And that one is, if you haven't got any experience of mainframe before, it's really sort of beginner level and very easy to follow. So somebody who hasn't got any development or programming background, it's the best thing you can do. Then another thing for students, it's called IBM Z System Academic Initiative. It's a part of Z Systems Academic Initiative. It's an open badge eligible activity, IBM Enterprise Z Computing Essentials. You have to provide your university email address for the registration to qualify that you are a part of an academic institute. And then IBM has got this huge knowledge center. There is a part of it, it's called ZOS Basic Skills. Really aimed at the beginners, really easy to follow, You'll just find too many resources that are very easy to follow. And then, if you want to show your interest and get something on your CV, there is this IBM Professional Certification Program. One that I was particularly interested in and haven't done yet is called Z Systems Mastery Test. So you have to do some training courses that you can do through the training providers. We have Interskill, they are also on the stands, and then another few IBM partners that provide the training courses. So you have to attend some courses, and then there is a proper exam that you have to do like in person, and you can get this certification. Very good for your CV. Some more resources that I found, like as I said, one of the struggles that we face is there are not enough tutorials out there as they are for Java or other open source technologies. Like if you Google Java tutorial, you'll find like more than thousands of websites with tutorials. For mainframe technologies, they are a bit scarce, but these are some of the websites that I found really helpful. Some of the tutorials on Mainframe's Tech Help and Mainframe Playground, there are a lot of exercises that you can do, and they are really easy to follow. So these are the actual hyperlinks that you can download from the slides. And then some forums, IBM Mainframes, IBM Mainframe Forum, if you have any questions, if you're, say, a student and you haven't got anyone around you to tell you, of course there must be some teachers or anybody else, but if, say, you haven't got anyone and you have got some questions, you can go onto that forums and ask. Some more reading. IBM has got some Developerworks courses. I found them very interesting, very easy to follow, and very useful. So you really want to go and check those courses out. There's a range of topics in those courses. There are some really new ones on blockchain. I just recently did one on blockchain and it was quite impressive. I really liked it. So there are quite a few number of courses. Then some articles on, this is a magazine called IBM Systems Magazine. It has a separate section for the mainframe. You can find many good articles under application development for mainframe technologies. As I said, there aren't enough free tools available, but there is one free emulator called Vista TN 3270. It's 30-day free trial initially, but if you enroll for Master the Mainframe learning system, you get an extended academic license for unlimited use. So that's really handy. And then another website for executing Rex online. I'm not sure if many of you know about Rex. But yes, if you talk about mainframes, Rex is something that you have to do. So for this website, you can just go ahead and type anything, type the code and execute it online, see what it is doing. You don't need a mainframe at the back end to see what this piece of code is doing. Then, as we all need some inspiration, there is a lot out there. It's really nice to see some young faces out there. So I'm not the only one struggling. We have a lot more. IBM has got these open badges. You must have heard about this or not. They are linked with the training courses that I was talking about. I did the Interskill ones, and I have recently got a few badges that I can display on my CV. So you have to go through the courses and then take some tests, and you get these open badges. Again, very good for your CV, just like any other Java or any other certification that you add on your CV to show that, yes, you have got something extra. And then IBM has got this YouTube channel, and they recently got these videos to show the new faces of IBM Z. So you can watch those videos and get a bit of inspiration that, yes, you're not alone. There are many. Right. After all this training, of course, I have to implement it somewhere. Or actually, why was this training needed? So these are a few of my first mainframe roles. As Keith said, mainframe is typically associated with green screen. It was, and it used to be green screen, but not anymore. We have all these modern web-based tools, like we have Eclipse. I rarely use green screen to develop anything. I've been working on Rex, I've been working on different languages, but it's Eclipse-based plugins for mainframe products and development tools that I would use most of the times. Like many of you would be already familiar with Eclipse or these kind of graphical user interface, so you don't really want to go and just work on green screen and type those commands and you don't know what you're doing. So it's always nice to use Windows-based graphical interfaces. Oops.
Too many clicks. Right, thanks Sarah. So one of the other things I had to explain to Sarah was obviously everyone sees the mainframe as something that's, you know, you see it in the press, oh, it's going to die away, it's going to disappear. Until recently, as explained this morning, if you heard the keynote, you know, they're talking about, oh, the mainframe's going to be around for another 10 years, which in IT terms is like a big picture. If you talk about other technologies, if you spoke about 10 years, you think, oh, that's going to change. But the mainframe's going to be around. There's lots of exciting stuff on the mainframe. The future's going forward. IBM have only just brought out their latest mainframe hardware, the Z14, which is the biggest mainframe they produced. It's got built-in encryption for data privacy, etc. It's all modest data. There's more and more data being produced, and you need a big engine in order to process that data, and the biggest engine is the mainframe. Modernisation, as we've spoken about, Eclipse and web and mobile. Security, the mainframe is the most secure platform. There's things like GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulations, comes out in May, which is a whole set of compliance around security and access of private data. The best place to secure all that is actually on a mainframe. And that's why IBM, I think, a really smart move with their latest box, the Z14. All the data's automatically encrypted. So they're playing a big part in that. So the mainframe's going to be around for ages, because things like the internet things, there's going to be so much data going around that you're going to have a machine or a set of machines that are big enough to deal with all this. So the future of the mainframe is, and it's still going to be the engine that drives your online transactions, your retail shopping, etc., etc. It's just going to be there. And new technologies like blockchain. Sarah mentioned blockchain. There are a few presentations on blockchain. That's the latest thing that's coming out from the financial sector. Takes a lot of processing, blockchain, in order for it to work. Needs a mainframe in order to process that in real time and responsive. I don't like the word legacy. I've never liked the word. It's core applications, as I said. All these mainframe run core applications, they're not going anywhere. No one's going to. A few companies have tried. We've got a customer who's been trying for over 10 years now. They keep renewing one of our products every year. They say, oh, it'll only be around for another year, so only renew for another year. 10 years later, they're still renewing for another year, and they got a new CTO come in, and he said, we're going back to the mainframe. This is pointless, us trying to get off it. We're going back. So, you know, there's been lots in the press about people trying to get off. Some companies have done it, some smaller ones have done it, but the big ones, very, very difficult for them to get off the mainframe. And it's modernising all the time. Open source, if you go and see the Rocket people, they're writing a load of open source on the mainframe, so they're moving into that area. Dockers and containers about how to deploy and ship software, that's all coming out on the mainframe as well, so it's going to make it easier to deploy software. Modernise it, etc. 24 hours, got open 24 hours. The Z part within IBM stands for zero downtime. People have mainframes that just run and run and run. It's not like a Windows PC where every time you do an update, it asks you to reboot, etc. Mainframes, we've got some customers who they don't re-IPL the mainframe for over 2 years at a time. Don't need to. It just carries on running. There's no need to do it. So, it's the most stable, most secure platform, and people aren't going to move away from that without taking a big risk. And IBM are playing their part in this, obviously, with the new box, but also coming out with a whole new set of software. I won't go through all of these, but as I say, if you look at the slides, you can go and have a look at the website and have a look at all this. This is all latest technology. All this stuff's got web front ends. You've got Watson for cognitive analytics, so speech, it's looking at speech. You've got performance analyzers. You've got the common data providers for offloading data off to the mainframe into your distributed systems, into products like Splunk and Spark, so you can do even more analytics going forward. So they've played their part as well. They've recognised that the mainframe needs to be modernised. And this is another reason why I love this job, because every time I go into work, there'll be another announcement from IBM or another company, etc. And then we've got something else to go and play with, something else to look at and see whether we can use it, integrate it, etc., etc. So I think your future, if you pick a mainframe career, is very bright. I think there's lots of opportunity out there if you pick on a mainframe career. You need to go and pick a company that's willing to do some training, or put the time, allow the time, which is more the point. It's more about allowing the time, I think, to do the training. There isn't a mainframe training course that you can send somebody on. So there is some stuff out there, but you have to go and hunt it. Skill, which was a company that we've decided to use for some of the training courses, has been very good. But I think, if you decide to go into the mainframe, I think you'll be in a niche area and a niche position going forwards, because as people like me hopefully retire, then people with mainframe skills are going to fill in those roles, and it'll be a big opportunity for you. And there's plenty of jobs. There's all sorts of jobs. It's not just, we've spoken about, I was an ex-developer, an architect, and obviously Sarah's spoken about her role as a developer. But Sarah started off as QA testing. My son, who was in the pictures, he now does QA testing. But there's all different types of roles within the mainframe as well. So we're not talking about just developers. Development's not your thing, that you don't want to do it full time. But you'll find that even if you become a systems programmer, you're going to have to do some development. That's talking about Rex. So they use Rex a lot. Performance analyzer, you're probably going to have to go and write some adapters and stuff like that. So probably wherever you are, you're going to have to get involved in development and involved in different aspects of the mainframe. But it's not just development. If you decide to go into the mainframe, there's lots of opportunities especially in these big companies, the big financial companies and banks. They have a whole suite of database administrators that you can go and join and learn from, etc. And I've said to Sarah, as we all retire, she can actually pick any of these jobs, because there'll be holes appearing all over the place. And at some point, if we don't employ more people, she'll be doing all of this.
So we need more of you.
Yes, including CTO. She could end up being CTO, because she'd be the only one left, unless we do something about it and we employ more people, train them up, and embellish with. And new people have new ideas. That's the other thing that I like. They come with, they question stuff. I've been doing this for 30 years, so you get a bit stuck. You think, we've done this like that. And it's one of my pet hates is someone saying, we always do it like that. Well, new people don't tend to do that. They tend to come along and go, why? Why are we doing it like that? They might not have an answer, but it makes you question yourself. And you go, actually, why are we still doing it like that? We should be looking at something else. So employing younger people does have other benefits as well. So, any questions?
Can I just make a constructive comment? There's a really good series of books by a chap called Murak,
right?
M-U-R-A-C-H, which would be a good addition to your list there. And it's kind of a beginning developer's view of the world, so how to write your first cake scale program.
Oh, right, okay.
Very useful as a beginning mentor
Right.
developer.
Right.
And there's a series of books on MS and DBT and all sorts of things. So really good series.
Right. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, just on that basis, I would recommend to the newcomers to look at the IBM ITS Redbook website. There's tons and tons of material
Yeah.
for beginners to the experienced, and most of it has been written by IBM practitioners, in some cases customer practitioners, and most of the material is how to do it.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing, for example, Z14, you're going to customize it and do the configuration setup. There is a guide which takes you step by step
Through that.
And
Yeah.
there's really tons of it. And the reason I'm promoting is I've co-authored myself about 16 of these red books, so
Oh.
I know a lot about them. But
Yeah.
if you're looking for free material,
Yeah.
and it is free material, that's
Yeah.
the key thing.
Yeah.
And now, for example, ZOS, ABC of ZOS, is
Yeah.
I think running into volume 13 or volume 14. I lost the count. But it really,
Yeah.
and it's a freebie.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you a dime.
I really like the red books. I mean, we've been looking at multi-factor authentication, which is another new technology that come out, and so we started looking at it, and the first thing we turned to was the red books. There was a red book on it, so we read the red book, and then we got ourselves up to speed, very quickly because of that.
And the other thing is, you've been talking about ZOS, you've got Linux on Z. There's
Yes,
tons
of course,
material on
yeah.
that. And if you don't want to do the mainframe bit, the storage bit and the kits and the IMSs, the whole range of topics. And now with the newer technologies like blockchain, and there are
Yeah.
books in the pipeline and they're coming through.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions?
I just wonder, sorry if you did cover this, but were you saying that you recruited externally for the jobs within Mainframe, or was it more a case of looking at your internal resource and then getting gaps to be filled? In terms of if you're taking on apprentices or...
We have looked at apprenticeships. We haven't done anything about that yet. Sarah obviously was already employed, and the next victim, as I say, is someone else who's already employed. But we have taken on students before, and then they go through a sort of Q. We put them into QA at the time. That was the decision. We needed some QA people, so they went into QA and moved on. So yeah, it depends. We're quite a small company from an R&D sort of perspective. So there's head counts to be considered and costs, etc. But enthusiastic people who want to learn the mainframe, I'm always willing to talk to. And we'll always consider them. But obviously, the company has budgets.
There are other companies who are doing these apprenticeship schemes, like the recent one you might hear about tomorrow. There are a few sessions from Manchester Metropolitan University with the mainframe apprenticeship degrees.
Yeah, I'm on that degree program.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Sessions from
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just wondered in terms of how wide scope, whether people have heard that, with the new levy and things.
Yeah.
We discussed this, right? I just wondered
Yeah.
as to whether there were people doing that, or are they looking at their already sort of existing employees and, like you say, changing them from them.
I think it's something that we're going to have to do. Because fortunate enough that Sarah was available to, and convinced her to take that role. Trying to convince another person to do that, but then I'm stuck. I've got nobody else to turn to, so we will then have to start looking at getting people in externally. We find it more and more difficult to employ replacements, straight replacements, people with skills to the same level as the people retiring. That's becoming even more difficult. We've been quite fortunate recently. We managed to get a couple of people in, but again, they're of a mature age, so it's not going to be a long-term thing. They're just a stopgap. They're likely to retire in the 10, 15 years. So it's not ideal. We need to start, plugging this with people in their sort of, say, 30s or 40s. So it's got a long-term future at the company, and we'll be running the company. Macro 4 we work for, it's our 50th year next year. So, we'd like it to go on for another 50 years. And that's going to be difficult unless we start recruiting and training, etc., etc. We're going to have problems.
going back to the Z Academic Initiative, the whole sort of packages that is tied into a local university, and normally IBM picks up a university or goes into collaboration with the university where there are potential mainframe employers, and you can see where they are in the UK and look at one of those universities, and as soon as these guys come through, they get snapped up very quickly.
Yeah.
Because they're young, eager to learn, unlike old legs, like myself, you know. So, that program does work.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've heard a lot of success stories. Obviously, there are a few failures, but overall, it's positive.
Okay. Oh, one more.
Oh, I just wanted to say, just from like a young person's perspective, sort of a year ago, I didn't really know anything. I didn't even know what Mainframe was actually a year ago. And for a lot of young people, you don't really, as much as you can research about the industry, you don't really appreciate what you're doing until you get stuck in and hands on. I mean, RSM, I'm part of the MIT scheme, which is a 2-year program at RSM Partners, and now that we've sort of, not only are we learning, but we're also getting a feel of what's actually happening, how this actually affects the bigger organisations and how critical it is.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for companies to try and reach out and show like prospective people
Yeah.
actually what this is doing.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
how important they are. Yeah. Yeah.
See, the biggest problem with the mainframe is its own success. The zero downtime is its biggest problem. I have been to customers where the distributed guys and the mainframe guys are at loggerheads, and the reason for that is the CIO, CTO goes and talks to his technical people, and I've helped customers actually, by the way, I'm an ex-IBM, customers actually saying to me, the CIO, CTO don't know who we are. These are the mainframe guys. I say, why is that the case? Because our system never goes down. We never have to go to the war room next morning and explain why there's outage.
Yeah.
Whereas the distributed guys are there every morning and explain why the system is down, and the CTO knows them by the first name, the family name, and everything. And the success of the box is its own, sort of, I won't say its own downside.
Yeah.
That's why people like you don't hear about the mainframe. And as you very sort of successfully showed in that chart, it's been touching our lives and still touches our lives on every aspect of our day-to-day
Yeah.
existence.
Did you have a question?
So one more for Sarah. I'm currently looking to kind of go into the developer route as well. And I've been doing a lot of work on REST at the moment and kind of a little bit of C and Assembler. What would you say kind of like the biggest languages that have helped you to progress? On the internet side? I know it's only been a few months and everything, but where do you think you might discuss to next?
Yes, I was just about to say that it's my very early days and I've only been onto Rex so far. And of course, as everybody else who has been into mainframes would say that it's a completely different world. When you come from a background like Java or any graphical interfaces that you use for development, then you're so used to writing all the code using the libraries out there. You have this hundreds of utilities you can just grab from the internet and just put in your project and use anything and do anything in the world. But for mainframe, when you are talking about Rex or assembler, I haven't worked on assembler so far. I have too, but the people who have worked on assembler will know that you have to sort of start from the very scratch. Even for a simple print statement, you have to write something to do it from the very basic level. But then, one reason for not having enough resources or not having enough utilities or libraries out there on the internet is because we are working for our companies and it's copyrighted code. We can't put it out there on any website or any internet resource. But talking about the languages, I haven't worked on too many, I'm afraid, so I'm not sure if this is the best answer, but yeah. I've only worked on
COBOL is the
so
most
far.
used language out there on the mainframe. There's still billions of lines of COBOL that are used daily. How much that's being changed and being maintained and being enhanced, don't know. But in terms of actual mainframe code, it's still COBOL is the biggest. And then assembler, there's quite a bit of assembler out there. All our products are written in assembler, which gives us an even added challenge. But we're looking, to rewrite bits that don't have to be in assembler. The performance stuff and stuff that's critical and responsive is all written in assembler for a reason, but we do have other pieces that could actually be written in slightly slower Java, because the performance and the turnaround is not as critical. So we're looking at that as well. And then obviously there's Sarah's Java skills will come into its own, because obviously I've got a whole bunch of assembler guys who don't know Java. So the teams will have to start working together, which bit's going to be Java, which is going to be assembler, and then the plan is to train up Sarah in assembler, so she'll be able to do both bits, and she'll be able to decide which is best, which is the quickest, which is performance critical, which isn't. So that's what we need to do.
Yes, this is what happens right now, that I am working on sort of the web side of the mainframe products, plus the interfaces that we have for like Eclipse plugins for our mainframe products, or the source code management. Like there was one slide, we use the regular source code management tools like SVN and other things. It's not something just on the mainframe. We use the regular tools that every other open source or distributed company would use. So yeah, I would work on that side of the project, and then there are assembler guys and COBOL guys who are right now working on that side. But of course, I have to sort of work my way through to get a grip on both sides.
That's what I decided,
Products.
a few years ago. Part of this challenge of getting people in, and the university people coming out, they know Eclipse, they don't know Java, they know things like Subversion, they know Apache Ant, Jenkins, those sort of technologies. So I actually moved all our mainframe development environments off the mainframe into those environments. Bit of a learning curve for the mainframe guys. They actually now prefer it because the tools are much better than some bespoke stuff that we had on the mainframe. But it also means that when you've got these teams that are working in different environments, they're all working in the same development environment. They're all working from the same source management, Eclipse environment, etc. So it makes it easier now for people to jump around and get involved in other areas. You would never have got any of the Java guys looking at the mainframe to look at the mainframe source in this bespoke source system. They wouldn't have gone anywhere near it. But now it's just in Subversion in another project area. They just link to it and have a look. It makes it much easier. So that's a part of that process of making the whole thing into one. So there's no silos. I'm trying to get rid of all the silos. So everyone's just part of the big picture, the teams. Right, I think we've run out of time. So in summary, Sarah's parents were a lot prouder than my parents. There is big opportunity now for people to work on the mainframe. They shouldn't dismiss it as something that's old and legacy, because that's completely wrong. It will be in the future, will be around for ages. I personally think there's going to be a big opportunity if you do go in that direction. And thank you. If you want to come and talk to us on stand 32. We'll be there, and Sarah will be happy to answer any of your questions. And eventually, worse than meerkats.